Hello, my name is Thomas Osdoba. I'm the director of NetZeroCities. NetZeroCities serves as the platform to help the European Commission support 112 cities as they work to achieve climate neutrality by 2030. This mission to deliver climate neutral cities in response to our climate emergency is the most aggressive and ambitious program around the world to support cities in responding to the needs related to climate change. As noted, the cities have been leaders in climate action for a long time. More than 70% of emissions are produced within the boundaries of cities, whether produced by businesses, our automobiles, our homes, our buildings, etc. So they are a natural focal point for tackling climate change directly. Cities have been working intensively to respond to climate change for more than 20 years in a variety of different ways. When the mission was launched back in 2021, it sought to identify cities that were prepared to move farther, faster, and more aggressively than they have in the past, and to provide the support necessary for those cities to succeed. We help them in a number of ways. We help cities build capacity to respond to these needs. Cities often tell us that they are limited by the number of people that they have who have expertise and capabilities to deliver on what's necessary to respond to climate neutrality. So we seek to support them with better tools, access to resources, and support throughout the process. Cities also tell us that they need help in changing policies that will allow them to move farther, faster, and to get to deeper impacts in terms of reducing our climate-related emissions. Those policies sometimes are at the city level, and we need to help the cities go through the process of changing those policies. In other cases, those policy changes may be at the national level, in which case we need to work with the city, the national government, and often the European Commission to identify ways to change policies to enable cities to make the actions necessary possible. In addition to policy changes, cities also note that they need support in accessing all of the resources that it will take to implement the actions necessary, whether it's improving our buildings to reduce energy use and the emissions that come from them, upgrading our infrastructure so that we're able to more intelligently share energy across multiple buildings within a defined community, to maximize the use of locally available energy resources. And in some cases, that's waste heat from buildings. It could be waste heat extracted from warm water that even flows through the sewers underneath our communities. There are a variety of different ways in which we can do that, but we need to help cities upgrade their infrastructure for that to be possible. Upgrading infrastructure requires helping cities create a robust business case for attracting investment to make those changes. Cities also need to mobilize the deployment of clean technologies, whether it's electric vehicles, different kinds of vehicles that reduce the volume of vehicles that are flowing in our neighborhoods, potentially coordinating logistics like delivery of packages, etc. All are critical factors that cities need to work on in order to respond to the challenges of climate neutrality and to do so very aggressively. That takes a huge amount of money. Most of that money can be delivered through investments, and those investments can be attractive to private investors. We estimate that more than 600 billion euros of investment are going to be needed to help all 112 cities achieve climate neutrality in the time that we have. So there are some really good ways that we're working to help the cities in this regard. A good example we're working on right now in the city of Leuven in Belgium. They're now organizing a roundtable to bring together potential investors, to sit down with them and look at all of the activities that they've developed that are ready to be implemented today, not 5 years from now, but today, and invite those investors to consider ways to participate alongside the city. We're also advising the city through the city's Mission Capital Hub, which is a new tool to help engage with private capital. We're also helping the city to create an impact fund at the city level that it can use to more effectively work with private investors, as well as to help fund and finance those projects that might not be capable of attracting private investment. And so that's an example of the kind of work we're doing in one particular case. A lot of this work means we need to have expertise from technical experts who know a lot about mobility in cities or building performance and energy use in buildings, infrastructure, finance, etc. We have within NetZeroCities experts who work side by side with those cities. In addition to that, we have city advisors who work one-on-one with each city to help them with the very specific challenges and needs that they have. We know that cities are being asked to do very difficult work here. And in order to help them, we have to focus on building trusted relationships with each of those cities so that we can work together to solve those issues. Now, we've been working for 2 years with cities since they've been selected to participate in the mission. And as I mentioned, there are 112 cities across all of Europe from 29 different countries. Those cities include those large and small, Istanbul, the largest city in Europe, and we have also some very small cities, 50,000 people. We also have cities geographically across all of Europe, as I'd mentioned, from 29 different countries, including associated countries to the EU, who also work alongside EU governments in pursuing these kinds of activities, not just related to climate. So there's a large community of cities working together. Some cities are very advanced and far along in their work. Cities like Copenhagen, Amsterdam are cities that most of us are familiar with if we've been reading about or paying attention to the discussions around climate action in cities. We also have cities who are very early in the process and will be starting at a much different place, and they need much different support. And so we have to be able to, through NetZeroCities, help them in that effort. I want to talk about two things specifically in the ways that we help them. One is the use of a tool called the Climate-KIC contract, which is developed to help cities bring together their stakeholders, businesses, universities, large institutions, finance institutions, civil society organizations, and citizens to mobilize around collective action, because we know it's going to take collective action for cities to be able to achieve these goals. In addition to that, the Climate-KIC contract is a tool to help them negotiate commitments that they make together around the actions that they'll take and supporting the actions of others. Another piece of the Climate-KIC contract is their climate neutral action plan, which seeks to help them look at all of the things they will need to do. It helps them to describe precisely the barriers that they face in achieving climate neutrality, and then helps to outline strategies for overcoming those barriers. This differs from traditional climate action planning in the scope of impact it's seeking to have, and in addition to bringing a new level of engagement with the community all the way through the process, in opening up about the challenges that they face as a city to achieve this and working creatively with key stakeholders to overcome those barriers together. The third and final component of a Climate-KIC contract is an investment plan. And that plan is meant to give the cities a picture of how much capital is necessary to achieve this outcome over the whole period of time, not just an annual budget amount or not even a 3-year capital budget, but over the whole period of the mission, so that the cities are able to start thinking now about their capital needs. And I'll give you a great example of how cities have worked through this. We've been working very closely with the city of Marseille in southern France, and they have been seeking to bring together a variety of businesses universities, and a number of citizens and nonprofit groups within the community to look overall at these capital needs and talk openly about what support the city is going to need to pull this together. It's very challenging work, but it's helped them to identify the fact that this is not the kind of program that they're going to be able to deliver on just by seeking grants from the EU or waiting and working with the French government for funding programs. This, in fact, requires them to take a much more aggressive approach, recognizing there are things that they can do today with existing resources to begin to attract other funding and other investment. It also helps them to recognize that they can prioritize some very attractive projects, such as converting to electric buses, early in the process, so that they can build confidence in their ability to attract investment and that they're an attractive place for investors who want to bring resources in support of city climate action. This process, which has taken quite some time, and again has been quite challenging for the city of Marseille, has really helped them to get a better picture of the road ahead and help them begin to build their capacity and help them to build a relationship with the elected officials that allows them to work in a different way. And we hope that that's going to help them move much more quickly, much more aggressively. We have organizations that come from three primary sectors who are part of NetZeroCities community. It's a consortium of 34 organizations. Some are universities who have deep and advanced expertise in various activities related to climate action. That includes the technical universities in Madrid and Milan, who'd work very closely with those cities in helping them to develop and deliver on their climate action projects. In Milan, the university there works very closely with the city on technical work around buildings, building energy communities, and advancing around social housing and making that more sustainable, as well as reducing the energy bills that the residents in the social housing will face. In Madrid, the university there has helped the city to develop a whole new governance model for approaching this activity, which brings the city alongside the university, other major institutions like hospitals, and several businesses who all work together in support of this shared endeavor. And it's critically important that we do that. So those are some of the examples of partners from the university side, and we have those across Europe, in the Netherlands, in Finland, in Sweden, in Poland, for example. We have also partners who come from the practitioner world. And so they're consultants and experts who bring certain knowledge and capabilities. Examples of existing community partners from Climate-KIC include Dark Matter Laboratories. They're a very innovative company that seek to help not just cities, but any organization really work on deep systemic changes in how we're responding to the challenges that we face in the 21st century. And they've been working with us for a number of years and helped to bring a lot of creativity and a lot of innovation capacity into the work. And they work side by side with us and our city advisors and the cities themselves. We have another organization, it's called Bankers Without Boundaries, also a part of our community, who provide finance expertise in terms of knowledge of how to deliver projects that are financeable, but also relationships and knowledge about how to work with capital markets. Those are institutional investors, wealth management firms, private equity funds, high net worth individuals, whatever you name it. So they're able to help cities with a variety of different activities that are critical to helping them attract capital. Another example of a partner that we work closely with in NetZeroCities is the Democratic Society. And they're experts on democratic practice and governance. And we know how important citizen decision-making, democracy, and governance is in our efforts to respond to the climate action, support cities in taking on the difficult challenges that they face as part of the mission, and being able to work with those citizens and stakeholders to understand the potential benefits that come with that. Every city we work with, we help them to develop an economic model that shows them that when they consider the benefits to public health through better air quality and reduced congestion, reducing heat island effect, and therefore reducing energy demand for cooling our buildings, all of those other factors, that they see that even though it takes an enormous amount of investment, the savings are greater than the cost. And so we help them understand that there's a real economic opportunity. Now, Climate-KIC developed that tool with an organization, a company called Material Economics. And we developed that tool back in 2018 because we knew we needed a tool like that to help cities when and if a mission were to be created and launched, which is now the case. So it's a great example of how we work together, anticipating these kinds of opportunities and these sorts of needs as they come along. Another partner we work very closely with, Demos Helsinki, really is a global expert on governance and how organizations, how institutions make decisions and think about things like equitable decision-making, inclusive participation, and so on. So we have a lot of partners who all work together and bring different kinds of expertise. We have experts in mobility and transportation as well, who are part of NetZeroCities. We have experts in energy systems, some of whom are at the Technical University in the Netherlands, or in Fraunhofer in Germany, or in Taltech in Estonia. So we have a lot of different kinds of partners who all work together to support us. And it's really almost a small community in and of itself in NetZeroCities to deliver on this work. What are we looking for in collaboration? Well, I would say from a university perspective, one of the things I think would be critically important is for researchers to engage and look at the work that's being done by the cities and through the work that we've started so far. With 112 cities working at this scope, there is an enormous opportunity to look at, gather the data from this work, and begin to understand and develop knowledge about how effective this is, what we can do in addition, what do we need to do differently, et cetera. There's a huge learning opportunity as well as a great universe of research that can be done. From the business sector, there are all sorts of opportunities. I'll list just three ways to get involved. One is to engage in a community of practice that we're organizing around the city's mission. So businesses who have commercial interests in working with cities in responding to climate change can come together, share information, support the cities, and get visibility into how this work is advancing so that they're able to develop and refine their services to help cities with these outcomes. They can also provide expertise, tools, and resources that they have available to them. In some cases, we have companies who are providing direct financial support to cities to work on innovative practices. And we can continue to look for opportunities to do more and more of that over time. One of the opportunities Climate-KIC offers is that platform to connect to the cities directly in ways that you might not otherwise be able to do. We're also fostering dialogues between business leaders and city government leaders so that they can work together to prepare for the changes that are coming, the scale of investments that are necessary. We know there are issues around supply chains that we're going to have to prepare workforce and workers who are able to scale up the work that's necessary to achieve this outcome. And then finally, for investors or funders, there are so many ways to get involved with the cities and with NetZeroCities to support this work, whether funding directly projects and activities to investing in funds that are helping cities to deploy their work, or again, providing expertise support to the cities in their work. We have all sorts of opportunities and ways to get involved. As we go forward, we're really looking forward to all the ways that cities are going to begin to make progress and demonstrate what's possible, and then we're going to learn from that. Part of the purpose of the mission is to facilitate learning through doing this work, and we're very excited about how that's going to progress for us. There are a number of ways to get in touch with us. I will start by identifying the project website, which is netzerocities.eu. And there you can follow us through a variety of social media channels. You can email us directly, and you can stay current on all the events and all the good news. You can read about the projects the cities are working on. There's a lot of information there. It also will connect you to the Net Zero Cities portal, which is an online repository of all the knowledge, tools, and resources that we're able to assemble to help cities with this work. And it creates a space where cities can share information with each other and work together. And we'll be developing lots of learning materials, lots of webinars and programs to help share the information that we're learning with everybody. It's very important to note that developing a mission that's supporting 112 cities is as much about all other cities as it is about those cities, because responding to climate change requires all of us to respond, not just those who are selected to be part of a particular program or project. That's the only way we successfully respond to the emergency and build climate resilient communities that we can all continue to thrive in. Thank you very much. I really look forward to hearing from you and talking with you about opportunities to work together. Thanks again.